Okay, Martin Popoff here, back again for the Contrarians in another episode of this mini show inside our channel called Who Invented Heavy Metal. We are looking at Uriah Heep, very heavy, very humble today. Now, this is we've gone through all kinds of like 60s stuff, and we've gone into the 70s. We've covered the likes of Black Sabbath. We've covered the Who live at Leeds in here, which is kind of a weird one to throw in, but I thought I'd put that in. And Deep Purple in Rock. Now, Deep Purple in Rock came out June 5th, 1970. Very important that this record right here, not exactly this record. This is the American one. I'll get to that in a second. But Uriah Heep's debut album came out June 19th, 1970. So 14 days, exactly 2 weeks later than In Rock. And famously, you know, there's all the comparisons of these bands. They even rehearsed in the same building, kind of next to each other. So Uriah Heep often gets compared to Deep Purple, and playfully when Mick Box gets asked this, he says, "Yeah, there was a difference in the band. They had one singer, we had five." So that is a big difference with the band. Uriah Heep has a lot of vocals going on, right? And Deep Purple's a little more one-dimensional when it comes to vocals, but they are both heavy and they both have that Hammond organ sound. And it's I suppose, given that there was a Mark I Deep Purple, you could say that Deep Purple absolutely did that first. Vanilla Fudge, you got to throw that in here as well. But so yeah, when it comes to 1970, we are already into the invention of heavy metal. And as I explained in the Deep Purple episode, I'm obsessed with this idea of who did all this stuff first, who invented heavy metal. I did a whole book called Who Invented Heavy Metal, 120,000 words, that ends in 1971. I may end the show. I may end this series in 1971. I'm not sure at this point, but right now we're in the middle of 1970. And like I say, I'm obsessed with that question. But as a young listener or a young person learning this stuff, I mean, I don't think they care 55 years ago what month things came out in terms of the invention of heavy metal, right? And of course, this question goes on years and years and years later, and we talk about the invention of heavy metal still, right? So very heavy, very humble, really complicated title with the apostrophe heavy and apostrophe humble and the ellipses in the middle. Very annoying. Different album cover than the American debut. So that came out June 19th, 1970. But very quickly after, August 70th, or in August 1970 came the US copy. And I remember drawing this and having it on my wall. So this is the US copy, and it's just called Uriah Heep. And, back cover like that. So it's one of these kind of gatefoldy dealies that looks like that, right? And on the inside, you get the cover of Very Heavy, Very Humble is this cobwebbed monster kind of thing, and you get it as a backdrop here, and you get this really rock and evil looking live shot, and then you get some credits with it, right? But a big difference. I'll wait till we get to that song on the album. So this absolutely qualifies as a super important Who Invented Heavy Metal album, because it is considerably heavy for 1970. And again, one of the big things I like to talk about in the idea of inventing heavy metal is it's a lot more classical based than it is blues based. There's really not a lot of blues on this album. And Uriah Heep can be also a little more dated than Deep Purple in Rock, and a little more dated than Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath and Paranoid, which both come out in 1970, in that they can be both a little psyche and a little proggy on here. I mean, proggy isn't dated because prog has the same story as heavy metal, more or less. It starts for real kind of in 1970, right? It depends on, what the big debate is King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King, which is 1969. And then there are, just like heavy metal, maybe we'll do a whole series on that too, but just like heavy metal, it's got the predecessors that are problematic in various ways, right? So this album kicks off with Gypsy. And Gypsy essentially does Deep Purple better than Deep Purple kind of ever did Deep Purple. And that's another cool thing about Uriah Heep, is when you get up to look at yourself and the song Gypsy from this album, They are actually getting that Deep Purple sound recorded better and heavier and more insistent than Deep Purple Mark II ever did. And the only debatable level of that is when you get to Machine Head, which is the best recorded of the Mark II albums, right? So Gypsy is absolutely this crunching, heavy, doomy, beautifully recorded drums, bass, guitars, heavy keyboards. So absolutely a heavy metal song, an absolute classic, the classic on this album, and one of the greatest songs they ever did. Walking in Your Shadow. In fact, I think I did a podcast episode, something to the effect of "It's all downhill from here," and kind of Uriah Heep, 30 or 40 albums, whatever it is later, they never bested Gypsy, the first song on the first album. Pretty bizarre. Yeah, Walking in Your Shadow, also a riffy, heavy song, a total riff here. So it's a modern heavy metal song. But then we're into Come Away, Melinda, an absolutely super quiet ballad. It's a cover, Fred Hellerman, Fran Minkoff. And it's been covered by other people. I don't know what the mystique of this song was back then, but yeah, totally quiet song. And then on the original Very Heavy, Very Humble, we get Lucy Blues, which is a total blues. So it is absolutely back to the British blues boom. There's nothing heavy about it, imaginative about it, anything like that. So this side, you've got two heavy songs and two completely nothing to do with heavy metal songs. Go over to side two. Starts with Dream Mare, which is heavy, but it's a little psych, it's a little prog, it's a little strummy, but it is quite a heavy song. They make a lot of noise on this song. Great singing from David Byron. Just tell you who's in the band here. Of course, David Byron, we've got the mainstay of the band forever, Mick Box. Ken Hensley is here as well. He's passed on. David Byron has passed on. Ken Hensley's in the band for a long time. He's a major writer in the band as well. Paul Newton on bass, and we got a complicated drumming situation. We've got Ollie Olson, Alex Napier on drums, kind of sharing duties as guys are coming in and out as drummer. And well, let's get to this point now. So on the American copy of side one, yeah, I didn't mention this. On the American copy of side one, you get Bird of Prey. Now, Bird of Prey it's the heaviest song by far on this album. It's an absolute masterpiece of pure modern heavy metal coming out in 1970. So they're putting this song together near the end of the sessions, and now we get the third drummer in, Keith Baker, and he will be on the next album, Salisbury, which isn't that heavy metal an album really. But so there is the big switch here. We've got Lucy Blues, which is just a crap throwaway blues, taken off the UK copy when it comes to America, and they stick on Bird of Prey, which is absolutely flashy, fantastic, magnificent, super innovative, and crazy heavy. Just grindingly way heavier, probably heavier than anything on Black Sabbath or Paranoid. So that makes this album significantly heavier than Very Heavy, Very Humble. So yeah, side two, Dream Mare. Second track is Real Turned On, which also very much like Walking in Your Shadow is not particularly as greatly recorded and as completely heavy sounding as Gypsy is, but it is a riffy song. You've got slide guitar in there as well, but you've truly got a proper heavy metal riff, although it's got a little bit of that kind of Nazareth-y, we're semi-based in the blues when it comes to this riff. Then we've got I'll Keep On Trying, which is completely doomy and heavy. So we got a totally heavy song there. And then we've got Wake Up, Set Your Sights, which is not heavy at all. It's psyche, it's proggy. They're pouring all of that old, the band used to be called Spice. So they're throwing in all this old kind of Spice influence into the band, and psych and prog and all that. And frankly, Deep Purple Mark I is kind of what they're throwing into it. So there you go. That is the Uriah Heep situation. And like I say, absolutely, when it comes to this album, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heavy songs out of 8 songs. So this is a significantly heavier album then Black Sabbath. And maybe, you know, if you want to go to those abstracts and think about heavy emotionally, or creepy or scary, I suppose the Black Sabbath album is scarier than Uriah Heep, Very Heavy, Very Humble. But that's quite an album cover on the UK one, and even this one as well, right? But yeah, the Black Sabbath album is a pretty scary album cover also. So that's been another chapter of Who Invented Heavy Metal. We're right in the middle of 1970, and there's a band that comes along and makes a heavier album than the album that invented heavy metal, which is Black Sabbath. So let us know what you think of this concept in the comments below. Please hit like when you see this for the first time. If you do like what I've said here, subscribe to us. We always want to get those numbers up. You can check out my audio podcast as well, History in 5 Songs with Martin Popoff. Go to martinpopoff.com for all your book needs. I can supply Uriah Heep a visual biography, big, huge hardcover, 400, 500 pictures in that. I've still got copies of that available. There's PayPal buttons there and all that. And yeah, I do an audio podcast as well with John Gaffney called Kicked in the Teeth, an AC/DC podcast. So there you go. Uriah Heep, Very Heavy, Very Humble, or Uriah Heep, Uriah Heep.